It's been a while, but this is lesson number 5 in the beginner series. Let's do this. Friends and neighbors, welcome back to the Brownstone. I know it's been a long time, but hopefully the videos that I have up for you will keep you busy for a little while. I am back with lesson number 5 in our beginner series. Up until now, we've just covered the notes in the first position of the fingerboard, playing everything like within the first 3 frets, the first 3 notes of each string. So we've got E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. I think one thing that you should sort of get used to doing as a warm-up is just playing those notes up and down, right? You can start by just playing 4 times on each note if you're like starting from the very beginning and just playing through until you get to all the notes. It's going to be a long exercise. Or you can just play 2 times on each note, and if you're a real rebel, you can just play 1 time, going through all of the notes from the open E to the B on the G string. And make sure that you say the names of these notes as you play them. A, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. Just keep doing that over and over again to make sure you get at least the first position under the fingers, into the muscle memory, and into your memory of the notes and where they are. But today, we're talking about triads. What the heck is a triad? Well, I'll show you. Let's say we skip the open E and the F, and we start at the 3rd fret of the E string at G. Right there. Now, what happens is if I play that G, skip the A, go to B, skip the C, and go to D, what I'm doing is I'm stacking thirds. In other words, I'm playing every other note of the scale, right? Here's my root, here's my 3rd note of the scale, and here's my 5th note of the scale. Those are the odd numbers. We're stacking thirds by playing the odd numbers. I can keep going with that. Here's the root, here's the 3rd, here's the 5th, here's the 7th, here's the 9th. So think about that. So we're going to go back and play a major triad. In this case, that is going to be the root G, the major 3rd, B, and then the 5th, which is D. How do we do that? You can just go through the scale and name the notes as you play them, and then target the notes that we need. G first, then B, and then D. So even if I just play the scale, here's G, here's A, we don't need A, there's B, there's C, we don't need C, there's D. Those are the 3 notes that we're looking for. G, B, the major 3rd, and D. That's our triad. And then guess what? Our last open string on the bottom is an open G. So what I want you to do is just play the triad and get used to the sound going up and down that triad. G, B, D, G, D, B, G. That's a major triad. So here, once again, we've got the root, the major 3rd, that's very important, the major 3rd, and then the 5th. Now, if I wanted to make that triad a minor triad, because we just played the major triad, if I wanted to make it minor, all I have to do is take that B and bring it down 1 fret, or make it flat, to make it a B flat. Now watch what happens. I'm going to play these 2 triads back to back. I've got the root, major 3rd, B, D, the 5th, and then I'm back to the root at G, the octave of the root. And I'll come back down, D, B, and G. Now, if I make that B flat, I've got G, B flat at the 1st fret of the A string, And then the last two notes are the same. D to G on top. D, B flat, G. If I play those two triads back to back, I get a really beautiful melody happening here. Now to the minor. B flat, B flat. Back to the major. B natural. Always B natural. B flat. There's the major and the minor triad. Now I want to show you something else that'll make you work a little bit. Right now we're playing the D open and the G open. But I don't know if you noticed this, but if you go down to the second dot, which is the 5th fret, what happens is you get the duplicates of the open strings. I'll show you what I mean. If I go down to the 5th fret of E, that's an A, which is the same as the open A above it, or below it, depending on how you're thinking about this. If I go down to the 5th fret of the open A and play that note, that's a D, same as the open D. And if I go down to the 5th fret of the D string, that's a G, same as the open G. So what we can do is we can play these triads in a way that's closed. Right now we're playing them kind of open with those two open strings. But maybe you don't want those strings to ring out the way they do. So what you can do is play the 5th fret of those two strings. I'll show you what I'm doing. I've got the root G, 3rd fret of the E string, 2nd fret of the A string, B, and then I stay on the A string and go to the 5th fret. And I play the 5th there. That's my D. And then I move up to G at the 5th fret of the D string. So it gives me this nice little shape. So again, I can play this triad exercise in a different way. Here I've got my G major triad. Maybe I'll play that 2 times. Now if I want to play the minor, remember all I have to do is flatten that 3rd, which gives me B flat at the 1st fret of the A string. I'll go back to major. Then I'll play minor. B flat, 1st fret of the A string. Play it one more time and then I'll end. Kind of a neat little exercise, right? And you're getting used to the sounds of the major and the minor triad. I'm going to give you one more little change before I leave you. Right now we're playing this big stretch, going from the 1st fret of the A string up to the 5th fret. Now, I get this all the time, where students ask me and I get comments in the comment section saying, hey, Rich, I don't have big hands. My hands are kind of small. So how do you do that stretch? You don't have to do the stretch. Your whole hand can move to make those notes happen. I don't necessarily have to play like this. I kind of like playing that way because I like to keep things sort of compact. But when it comes to those big stretches from like the 1st fret to the 5th fret, I would much rather just move my whole hand than try to you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. And actually, my point is that you don't even need to do this. That's a B flat at the 1st fret of the A string. Well, check it out. If I play the open A and then play the next note above that on the next fret, that's a B flat. If I play that A at the 5th fret of the E string, I should just be able to go 1 fret above that, 6th fret of the E string, and there's my B flat, right? So then that changes the shape, not necessarily changes, but it gives us another option for the shape of a minor triad. So here's my minor triad with the minor third on the A string. But if I move that B flat to the E string at the 6th fret, look at that. Look at how nice and compact that is. So I can just play that 1st finger, 4th finger, and then I can cover the last 2 notes on the 5th fret any way I want. Either I can play that barred with my 3rd finger, which I guess I wouldn't recommend. Or you can play that 3rd finger and little finger, or 2nd finger and 3rd finger. Whatever is the most comfortable for you. When I play through it, I like to use my 2nd finger and 3rd finger because I've got the little finger happening here at the 4th fret, at the 6th fret of the E string. And then these 2 very strong fingers can cover the 5th fret of the A string and the 5th fret of the D string. So now, when we play our major to minor triad exercise, I've got G, B, the major 3rd, and then these 2 notes, the D at the 5th fret of the A string, the G at the 5th fret of the D string. That's a shape that I can remember as a major triad. And now check it out. I'll move my 1st finger to play that G again, and then I can go 1st finger, 4th finger at the 6th fret of the E string, and then follow through with those last 2 notes on the 5th fret of the A and the D. So now, check this exercise out. Pretty good, right? So those are your exercises. First of all, just warm up by playing all the notes, right? From the open E all the way up to the B at the 4th fret of the G string. If you want, you can play the 5th fret too. That's the note C. So just run that up and down. Those are all the natural notes and the sort of first position of the fretboard. And then work on your triads. You can work on them with the open strings, volume please, and you can work on them with the 5th fret equivalents, right? And then just remember those shapes, and also remember to say the names of those notes as you play them, right? For the G major triad, we've got G, B, D. For the G minor triad, we've got G, B flat, and D. And I'm going to leave it at that. You know what to do, friends and neighbors. Like, share, subscribe, join, donate, all that fun stuff is greatly appreciated. I thank you as this channel continues to grow to over 80,000 subscribers. This is ridiculous. I love it. Let's see if we can get to 100,000 before the new year. Wouldn't that be amazing? You know, normally I wouldn't push for that kind of stuff, but I get excited at the prospect of hitting 100,000 subscribers before January 1st. Let's see if we can make that happen. As always, I thank you for visiting me here in the Brownstone. My name is Rich Brown, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.